So I'm going to talk first about the Void. I don't know, a couple years ago, I went to the Void in Utah. It's near Salt Lake City. We happened to go on a vacation to Utah, and I was like, oh, this is my chance to try the Void. So these are some pictures I took. Like it warns loud noises, strobe effects, temperature changes, pressurized air effects, perceived heights. There's a lot of warnings. They even sell merchandise and stuff. So there's a picture. I think the next picture will be the outside of the place. And you can see mountains in the distance. In Utah, there's like some mountains everywhere. It's crazy. But anyway, that's the entrance. It's pretty cool looking. And this is the front desk. That guy right there, I interrogated that guy trying to get all the technical details of everything, and he would not give me anything. He was just like, nope, can't tell you anything. And see, they used to use Star VRs. That's what that one in the middle is. And so you wear a backpack PC, and your headset's connected to that. So you're totally free to walk around anywhere. So the one they had here was Ghostbusters. It's called Ghostbusters Dimension. You you're a Ghostbuster. It's up to 4 people can go into this. You go to this little briefing room where you just look at a TV and they kind of tell you what you're doing. Then you get all of you suited up into your equipment, and the Void, it's an Oculus Rift, is what it really is, and it's in this helmet thing with this big ass visor in the front that can flip up and down, and the tracking is done by OptiTrack, which uses infrared LEDs, and then you have a gun in your hand, which is the proton blaster, and it works really well that you have the PC on your back because it feels like you're wearing a proton pack basically. And so you're going around this environment shooting at ghosts and stuff. And the ghosts will fly at you. And when they fly through your body, you have a haptic vest, so it vibrates. And the ghosts will pick up objects that are around and throw them at you. And then that'll make your vest vibrate too. And like it'll vibrate where the object hits you. And yeah, it shows Stay Puft Marshmallow Man there. One of the coolest things about the Void is that, everything is mapped to real world things. So like there's an opening room where, like, say for example, there was a sink. I went over to the sink and I started touching the sink, and I could feel a real sink. They had a real sink there mapped to the virtual sink, and I was walking around the doors. I was pulling on doorknobs and stuff, and that was a real doorknob, real doors. I mean, everything was matched up really well. So then you actually walk through different rooms. Like after a certain amount of time, a voice will be like, "Let's go to the next area," type of, it matched with the story somehow. I can't remember exactly what she said, but like the next room was actually went outside in the virtual environment, and it got cold. So the temperature changed, and then wind was blowing on us, and we were walking on a scaffolding, and the scaffolding was shaking under our feet, which was really cool. So people, if you and you're up high, so you look down and like you're seeing like the street beneath you. So if you're scared of heights, you would probably freak out. What I immediately wanted to do was step off of the scaffolding and see what would happen. So I was out floating in the air, just to check it out. But over there we fought, like some gargoyles and stuff. And then it brought us back into another room. So like there were basically 3 different areas, and we had the final battle. That it even used smells. There's a very distinctive smell at one point. I won't say what it was, but it was really cool. So there's heat, smells, wind, haptic vest, everything mapped to real world objects, or most things mapped to real world objects. So that's what's so cool about the Void. The Void has like, let me see, right now it has 11 locations in California, Utah, Florida, Texas, the UAE, like Dubai, Canada, and Malaysia, and there are 8 coming soon to Georgia, Texas, Canada, Minnesota, New York, Pennsylvania, and DC. So like 30 minutes from me, they're opening a Void in Tyson's Corner Mall. So I'm gonna go to that for sure. They have like 4 different experiences. They have Star Wars, Secrets of the Empire, Ghostbusters Dimension, Ralph Breaks VR, and they have something called Nicodemus, which is like some sort of horror thing that I never got to try that before, but I want to. I haven't done Ralph Breaks VR either. So yeah, up to 4 people at once, and I don't know. I guess that's about all I'll say about Ghostbusters. So then I went to Las Vegas, and they have a Void there too. This Void is underneath the Venetian Hotel. There's this Grand Canal Shops underneath the Venetian, and this is where I tried Secrets of the Empire. And so there's like the front desk and everything. I took all these pictures of where all these suits are actually hanging, and I got scolded by one of the employees. You'll see that I get deeper in there, start taking pictures, and there's this blonde woman that started yelling at me. But whatever I have to do to get the information, basically. So you get in there, you get suited up. Well, the first thing I noticed when I put the HMD on, I was like, "Whoa, this is blurry." So and then I realized, okay, this IPD is set out for like wide ass eyes. So I moved it back because I need my IPD low. And then the guy that worked there, he was like, "Don't touch that. That's set to where it needs to be." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna do what I want. I know what I'm doing, man." And he was like, "No, it's supposed to be a certain way." And I was like, "No, because here it's clear and here it's blurry." And then later on, I told the guy at the front desk, "Hey, you have a guy working here who doesn't know what he's doing." But anyway, then once you get suited up, you go to a briefing room where this guy Captain Cassian Andor from Rogue One talks to you to tell you what your mission is. You're going to Mustafar, which is the same like lava planet where Anakin and Obi-Wan fight in Star Wars 3, Revenge of the Sith. Anyway, you're going there dressed as stormtroopers to infiltrate like a base to get some powerful weapon. And K2SO, I think from the last Star Wars movie, talks to you about what you need to do, and he kind of helps you. You have hand tracking in this, and Ghostbusters there's no hand tracking, but like you can see your hands because there's Elite Motion mounted on the front. But I was in there with my girlfriend, just the two of us, and I noticed that like her, like I could see her as a stormtrooper, and sometimes her Elite Motion thought that my hand was her hand. So like she would have her hands down by the side in real life, but like if I move my hand, like her virtual hand would be all like crazy all over the place. So there are hand tracking issues right there. So you get a gun at some point in this. You go up to a wall and you pick up a gun, and you're gonna start fighting stormtroopers. They start shooting at you from all over the place, and when the lasers hit you, it actually feels like, whoa, I really feel like I'm getting hit by a laser, because like it's like a pinpoint pressure point where it's hitting you. And it's like, holy shit, this actually like is a little concerning because it feels almost like you're getting poked by a needle or something. And let's see. And then there's a part where you control sentry guns, like to shoot a bunch of stormtroopers that are coming at you. And meanwhile, the other person is working on some. It's sort of like a Simon puzzle where they have to like put in certain commands after they've heard them. It was kind of weird. My girlfriend was over there working on that while I was killing the stormtroopers with sentry guns. And there's less movement in this Secrets of the Empire than there was in Ghostbusters. I think like there's some corridors you walk through, but I think there's a little bit of backtracking because like then it told us to come back this way. But I think the game like it might have done some redirected walking tricks to make us think we were going to new areas when we really weren't. But I could tell we were just doing the same corridor back and forth. And you do see Darth Vader in this. Oh yeah, this is sort of like a prequel to this Vader Immortal thing coming out that we're all gonna play. So that's part of why I wanted to talk about it. That it ties together with Vader Immortal. So you see Darth Vader at the end of this, and I won't say what happens, but supposedly it ties with it. And
How long are these? How long are these experiences?
yeah, the Rift. I mean the Void. It's like $35 for 15 minutes.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Wow.
it feels longer than that, because of all that's going on. It's fun, but yeah, that's the price.
Would you think
And
it's worth it?
for me, it is. For me, it's definitely worth
Yeah.
it.
Is it 15 minutes from the time you step in there or 15 minutes from the time that you
Uh,
get in the game? Because you got to get adjusted and all that crap
I'd
too.
say 15 minutes from the time you step in there. I would say 15 minutes at most. It might even be less.
Okay.
That's just my guess. It's no longer than that. That's for sure.
So
So
don't
what,
take your whole family. Don't like all your kids.
yeah,
You
that would be
just
expensive, yeah.
Well,
So
I, a
which
friend.
one would you recommend then out of the two?
Well, I like the Ghostbusters more because oh yeah, well the Star Wars one had stuff mapped to it too. Like there was an R2D2 model, I think at the very end, and I touched it, and then there was a metal, and then I peeked. Well, what am I touching? And there was this metal R2D2 statue thing. But I like the Ghostbusters more because it had more different effects. Well, the Star Wars one had heat, like because I was on a lava planet, Mustafar. Well, you could definitely feel a lot of heat when I was anywhere near lava. But Ghostbusters just seemed cooler to me. I don't know because they had
Felt
this.
like you're on more of a journey, maybe.
Oh
Sounds
yeah,
more immersive.
and going outside was the coolest part on the scaffolding that was shaking and feeling the cold and the wind. Yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, I guess it was more immersive for me. Um,
Yeah, I like the sound of it. This is what I'm talking about with if you're going to do something, you want to do something you can't do at home. So this is obviously a completely different experience, like standing on scaffolding and feeling
Yeah.
like you're outside with a breeze and it's moving around and
Yeah.
looking down and you're high up. That sounds really cool.
yeah.
So
And so they got that Ralph it's called Ralph Breaks VR. That one's there now. I haven't tried that. Then I heard they're coming out with a Marvel one. Like they're gonna keep doing all these Disney properties. So
I think aren't they doing something that's going to be more integrated as a ride, like into the theme parks and stuff?
the Void.
Sure, just like Disney. I think Disney are doing more virtual reality stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe bigger, more elaborate stuff that's going to be built into the parks because these are kind of
Yeah.
like pop up things where they can take them anywhere and set them up. And whereas if they've got more space, like in the theme park, they could maybe do more with it, which would be really cool.
I forgot to go to the video. I've been showing those pictures I took of the Void, and I forgot to go to the video. This is the video here of Secrets of the Empire. A lot of this is just showing these people suited up in their equipment. You can see it's a pretty bulky thing on. It has these headphones built in to the side, these big ass headphones. And see, this
But
is what
it fits though. Obviously, having the
Yeah.
helmet like that fits with the theme of the game, doesn't it? So
Yeah, it fits. My girlfriend, her head's pretty small, so she complained that the thing was like too big on her, and she doesn't like VR that much anyway. But she said it smelled. She said it smells like BO in this thing, and I bet that's a big problem. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mine
yeah.
wasn't a big issue, but it's probably hard to keep these things clean, and they're probably full of sweat from all sorts of people. So,
Were you were you glad that you got the one that didn't have BO?
yeah, maybe
I
I
would
also
have.
had maybe it had BO too, but I don't know. I'm not as sensitive to smells as she is. I don't know. I think
Oh,
this might be Vader. Yeah, they showed Vader for a second, and then they went away. What were you gonna say?
now I was going to ask if any of you think any of these location-based experiences will ever come to VR down the road? Like, granted, you can't walk on the scaffolding or whatever, but maybe when they're just not being sold anymore, no one's going to them. Eventually, they port them over, or do you think that's just not anything that people would want to do?
I don't know how interesting it would be if it's just a 10-minute experience and it's built around being in a location with
Yeah,
everything around it. I don't know if it'd be particularly that
As
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. I
Now,
don't I don't think so. We'll just get the ones we're getting like Vader Immortal. Sorry, Wes.
no, I was just going to say that said, something on that scale wouldn't port to the home experience very well. But in like China and Japan, VR games are fairly prominent in normal video game arcades, and some of those experiences are being ported
mm,
uh, into the home experience. One I can think of off of the top of my head is called Horror Sense, and there's some other long string of Chinese or Japanese that I can't remember off the top of my head. But you can get that on the Chinese PlayStation Store. It's a horror game that was developed, I think, maybe by Bandai Namco for arcades. And there's more of them. It's not just Horror Sense. There's like a bunch of them, and they're getting ported into the Chinese PSVR store all the time. But Horror Sense in specific looks super cool. It's very basic. It's something that you uh, basically just it's controlled by your head alone. I don't want to get into a big thing about that, but I just wanted to say that while some of these larger things won't come into the home experience, there's a lot of arcade stuff that is going to come.
I've heard about one. It was down in London at one point where it's a horror game, but you're in a wheelchair, so you're actually sat in an actual real wheelchair and you have to wheel yourself around. And apparently, like it's up to two people in the same world, and it sounds terrifying. You wheeling yourself around, and then obviously stuff comes chasing after you. And you've got to literally wheel yourself around the level. That sounds really cool as well. That's a good use of obviously locomotion as well, because you're just sat somewhere, but you're moving around in a more realistic way because you've got the wheels that you're kind of using to move you around.
And once you finish this, you can opt for it to send you some statistics. So it sent me my accuracy and the number of stormtroopers I killed. So I think it told me I had like 58% accuracy and 60 something stormtroopers killed.
Wow, I didn't realize that's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of enemies to throw at you then.
Yeah, there are a lot of enemies, especially in that sentry gun section. I was killing tons of stormtroopers with that thing.
I presume the production value was really high with it being XLM Labs and animations and sound effects and everything's all top notch.
Yeah, it looks like what you're seeing in the video, except, more pixelated, more, VR. Like, it's an Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to, obviously now we've got all the new stuff coming out, whether they're going to upgrade the hardware, maybe use something else, whether they'll change up.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because these obviously Rifts are old hardware now, so.
Yeah.
Ancient.
Yeah.
It seems like it anyway, right? All right, so I guess we'll move on from that unless anybody else has anything to say on that, or Justin, if you have anything else to add.
No, that's it.
All right, so we'll move on to